Hello, fantasy footballers. Welcome to the third episode of the Mermaid Fantasy Football League podcast. Week 1 is now in the books, and the season is underway, and we are off to a hot start, I guess you could say. Right now, I am coming to you by myself. Evan is down in Alabama playing with a hurricane. And unfortunately, I texted a couple people and didn't hear back from them as far as coming to join the show. So last night I had a few texts about where the podcast was, when it was going to happen. So here it is today. And today we're just going to go through and recap last week and look ahead to next week and see how the waivers ran last night. Some interesting things. So stay tuned for that. So let's just jump on into the recap of last week. It was a mildly disappointing start to the season, really. We had one team score over 100 points, and everybody else was around the 70-80 mark. So maybe that's shaping up to show us that it's going to be a very competitive season, or players just aren't up to caliber yet. So obviously, what everybody wanted to hear about and talk about this first week was some bad beats in week 1. None worse than Evan's Golden Grams took a 1-point loss after having Kareem Hunt go off for 51 points in Thursday night. Unfortunately, the rest of Evan's team took the day off. Let's see if he would have played anybody. If he would have played a different tight end, he would have won. But the part that probably hurts the most is that he lost by 1, and he was going against the Broncos defense, who blocked a field goal at the very end of the game Monday night. So those 2 points took Jordan from a 1-point loss to a 1-point win. And of course, I've already gotten the text from Evan about how stupid it is and how he hates fantasy football, and it's week 1 and he's already not having fun. So hopefully next week, his team goes off and we don't have to listen to that anymore. And that was Evan's game. That was probably the worst beat of it. In the grudge match game last week, we had Blair Lynch and Scott Murr. Scott ended up with a 3-point win over Blair, even after Tyreek Hill went nuts on Thursday night as well. There was a little bit of chirping going back and forth between those two during the week leading up to the game, so I haven't really heard much after the game. Looks like that was a 3-point loss. Next up would be myself. I lost to Jeff by 4 points. And going into the very last game on Monday night, I was down 12, and I actually kind of thought, C.J. Anderson, a touchdown, 60 yards, I've got a shot at this. And luckily, I decided not to watch the game, let the game speak for itself, and woke up the next morning to see C.J. Anderson put up 8 points, and I lost by 4. If I would have played anybody off my bench, I would have won the game. Jamison Crowder, my flex, went for -1 points. If I would have put anybody else in there, I would have won. Tyrell Williams, Randall Cobb, if I would have played the Seahawks defense. I had Austin Hooper on my bench over Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron went for a whopping 0 points, and Austin Hooper had 2 catches, but those 2 catches went for 128 yards and a touchdown and 30 points. So congratulations to Austin Hooper for doing that on my bench. Looks like the only team that went over 100 would be Kyle. Went 114 for the high of the week. His team, and Julio Jones was a quiet day, but he just had a solid outing from everybody. The rookie Leonard Fournette carried his team to 24 points. Over Adam. Adam's team didn't show up as well. It didn't seem like this week that a lot of big-name players really had big games. The only first-round draft pick that really had a huge game was Antonio Brown for Lewis. and he was the only person on his team that really did much of anything. It didn't take a lot to beat Nate by 6 points, but Nate's team may be in a lot of trouble this week as his number 1 draft pick goes on IR, David Johnson. I think Evan was a little hurt that going into the draft, he thought he was going to get David Johnson at number 2, and Nate was going to take Le'Veon Bell, but Nate auto-drafted David Johnson, and the fantasy gods must have been looking down and saying, hey, you auto-draft the first pick, you're not going to have him for most of the season. So I think there's an award. Let's see what the trophies. There is a trophy that's going to be awarded to Nate, and it is called let me find it here, the Evan Baker Award. It's awarded to the team whose first-round draft pick goes on IR first. Evan every year comes in and says, my team would have gone undefeated, or I would have won the championship if my first-round draft pick wouldn't have gotten hurt, or my first 3 picks wouldn't have gotten hurt. So congratulations, Nate. You looks like you might have won the first trophy of the year, the Evan Baker Award. So I guess that's a second-place consolation to David Johnson this year. So, so far, obviously, just with 1 week into the season, a lot can change. It is week 1. I know Evan's ready to throw his team in the trash because they lost already, and he's done with fantasy football. But don't worry, Evan. As you're sitting on the beach somewhere right now, listening to this, just know that you've got 12 more weeks. You could still go 12-1. Everybody's still in it. I don't think anybody's mathematically eliminated quite yet. Although, yeah, Nate's team, nope, he's still technically in it. So, what a first week. You know, it was, I kind of felt like my team was, I was sitting there Sunday watching some games, looking at the fantasy lines, and I was like, feels like Christmas, you know, football's back. I'm so excited, you know, I was happy for it, and it was Christmas. I got a Christmas Day present, and I opened it up, and my team gave me a pair of socks. You know, it was a gift, but it was a lousy gift. Not showing up. Lowest points of the week. I'm hoping that this isn't a sign of things to come. Hopefully my team rebounds. I had a lot of guys on my team. I guess they were thinking it was still preseason. You know, Doug Baldwin, Brandon Cooks, Jamison Crowder. I think I had the only person on any team that went for negative points this week. So I don't think there's maybe that we need to create a trophy for that. I have to talk to the commissioner about that. So week 1's down in the books. There is a poll up on the front page of our website. Asking who had the worst beat of the first week, as 4 games were decided by 7 points or less, 3 by 3 points or less, and of course the one game that Evan's not gonna live down for a while is him losing by 1 with a player going for 51 points. Actually, here we may have a special guest. Scott, how did you feel about your week 1 victory?
Well, thanks for allowing me on this great show, Haas. Well, the way I analyzed it was a good matchup versus Blair.
It was a grudge match.
Definitely a grudge match every time you play Blair. It's kind of like when you want to play Evan, you want to beat him every time. But the highlight of my week was really not my victory. It was the way that Jordan, in the last second, overcame what was looking like a defeat, and on the last play of the game, the Broncos defense miraculously blocked a field goal, I think it was, for a 2-point change in the score and allowed him to win by 1. So that really was the highlight of my week. So me winning wasn't that important this week. It was the way that Evan lost.
Would you say that Jordan snatched defeat or victory from the jaws of defeat, or Evan snatched a loss from the jaws of victory?
Definitely Evan. Anytime Evan chokes and anything, it's well worth
Probably the best thing for Evan was that he was on vacation this week and he didn't have to listen to this for a week.
Well, not on the top as he's sitting in the middle of Irma getting poured on his vacation down in Alabama. this was salt on the wound for him, probably.
What do you think would have been worse? Him sitting on a beach with Irma or sitting here at the office listening to you and Blair for a week about that loss?
Well, he's getting it still anyway via text, so he is getting double whammy anyway.
But he can shut his phone off.
He has ignored me a few times, but I mean, it'll still be brought up when he gets back from vacation, if he is on vacation anymore because of the rain. But we're hoping he's having fun.
So was anything said between you and Blair? Was there any? I mean,
no, it was definitely professional. Definitely professional. We were two experienced fantasy football league owners, and we expected a battle, and it came down to Monday Night Magic, and I luckily overcame there in the second half with Demaryius Thomas having a couple good catches. By the way, who was auto drafted for me in the third round or fourth round, only because my power went off and I was on Wi-Fi at my house out in the farm, out in the country where we have no internet service. So
luckily you didn't get auto drafted. First guy who got hurt week one like David Johnson.
Well, that's just bad picking by Simpson. I mean, that's
taking Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he's horrible.
Do you think that so your team you had Derek Carr at 22 points, and I got a text on Sunday about him being the MVP of the league.
Without a doubt. And he also had 3 touchdown passes dropped by Cooper and Crabtree. So I expect big things from the MVP of the league this year.
So week one, you're 1-0. You're off to a hot start over Blair. How do you? I mean, do you feel this is going to be your year?
I 100% know this is going to be my year.
Now you did lose. You did lose one player on your team, Allen Robinson. Is that a big loss, little loss?
Not worried about it at all. He wasn't even in my lineup. I picked up his replacement today, and a great free agent pickup for me. I sat back and picked up two guys that may help me down the road with Ellington and Connor Coop from the Rams, who is going to get 100 catches this year. So, I'm working a little bit more than I have in the years past, and I'm expecting big things.
Do you feel like you're reinvigorated this year that you're gonna change the league?
I just want to beat Evan. That's all I care about. So other than that, if I beat Evan, I don't even know if he's in my division, but as long as I have a better record than him, I don't think I'm in his division.
I don't think
but a better record than him, and I mean, watching him go 0-14 would probably be pretty sweet. I don't expect to go 14-0, but I think I will make the playoffs and make a run at it this year.
You think you're in for a good season? Let's just take a look and see what your schedule when the. Who do
I play this week coming up, by the way?
So this week you play Nate Simpson coming off.
Oh, great!
The number one pick on the IR. So
great, and I have his backup right now, so you can't play Ellington. So
no, week 7 is going to be a big week against the Evans Golden Graham.
Well, hopefully I'm 6-0 and he's 0-6, and maybe he'll give up by then. He may have already.
After this last week, I think he may be pretty close.
He hates fantasy.
He does hate fantasy. So let me ask you one. We're going to start talking about some waiver wires today. This week the waiver wire ran at 4:30 in the morning, and then there was someone on free agency at 4:39 this morning. Blair Lynch picked up a couple guys.
Well, I didn't know how the system works, but you can guarantee it. I'll be doing the same thing next week. But now Blair says he was up wiping babies' asses or something, or getting ready for school or something, drinking coffee. But there's no way. He is now defeating the system. I think that actually the commissioner needs to look at that a little bit closely and I'm on my Evan on this side. I mean, on this side of things. I think that's bullcrap.
The commissioner has absolutely no control over when the waiver wire runs and who can pick up afterwards.
Well,
last year Jeff got up early.
I agree. And it's a good philosophy. I think if I get up that early, I think I might try it myself.
Yeah, so 4:30. So for everybody who's listening, 4:30 is when the waiver wire ran this week. It doesn't always run the same time, but.
And what time was Blair up?
So the waiver ended at 4:30 a.m. Blair's first transaction was at 4:39 a.m.
Amazing.
9 minutes afterwards.
Wow.
So I mean, I will say I did pick someone up. I picked someone up at 5:54, which is about the time that I get up and look at things, which is...
Yeah, for us guys that actually do stuff in the morning at work, we have to get up a little early and get our kids ready for school and then get to the office by 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you're a little earlier than that. But, Blair's thing was totally a lie. I mean, he's...
Do you think he went back to bed afterwards?
Absolutely. He did not drink coffee.
What do you think? Do you think everybody in the house wasn't happy with him for the alarm going off at 4:30 in the morning.
I'm guessing Carlin kicked his ass.
Well, so let's see. We're going to run down through these transactions this week. The first, so you took Andre Ellington over Kerwin Williams.
I don't even know who Kerwin Williams is, so Ellington was only a pick because I wanted him to defeat anybody from trying to get Johnson's. Which Johnson isn't. Ellington's not going to be the premier back yet, but he will be because he plays third downs. The other guy's not a catcher, receiver. I mean, and I think in the long term that's going to help me for depth and eliminate Simpson from getting.
Yeah, Simpson didn't get. Who got Kerwin? So Simpson.
Who's Kerwin Williams?
Kerwin Williams. They're saying Kerwin Williams, Andre Ellington, now C.J. Johnson are a three-headed backfield. But
Kerwin Williams is not a third down back either. So Ellington's going to get his touches.
He's probably. I would agree with you there. Kyle got Kerwin Williams. Nobody picked up Chris Johnson, so I guess technically he could pick up someone. It looks like Simpson did not pick up any waiver wires.
Yeah, he's stupid. So he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
So you may be in for you may have an easy week this week.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That could also be the kiss of death.
Yeah,
to have someone go nuts on you.
Am I predicted to win by the commissioner or
let's see who.
By the guru? I'm sure I am.
Let's see what ESPN predicts you at. Right now, ESPN is predicting you as a 7.8 point favorite over Nate.
I'll crush him.
Crush him?
Crush him.
So he's going to be playing. You're going against Big Ben, DeMarco Murray, and LeGarrette Blount.
Who the Steelers play?
Steelers are Minnesota.
Oh, that's good defense to go against Big Ben.
But he's also got Amari Cooper, so Carr goes big, Amari Cooper go big.
I'll take my chances.
I would take my chances too.
He's got Robertson, Crabtree, and he's got Pound, Marshawn Lynch.
He's got some. I'm not liking Nate's team without David Johnson. Looked a lot prettier with David Johnson there. So let's see who else this week. Who else we got?
Who's Evan have?
Evan is playing Blair. So,
sweet.
So right
matchup
now,
of the week right there.
Matchup of the week. So right now it is a tightly contested matchup.
But Blair usually doesn't update his rosters till Thursday, so that could be off. But Blair will absolutely destroy him, especially Blair coming off a tough loss. He's really going to grind this one out.
Well, Evan did not also have Mike Evans top 10 pick this last week. So this week he is back in the lineup. Evans got Russell Wilson, Le'Veon Bell, Kareem Hunt, Mike Evans, Golden Tater Tot, and Jarvis Landry. So, I mean, he's got a decent team. Blair's got Brady, Elliott, McCaffrey.
Tom Brady is going to go off this week. Off. Mark my word.
Well, hopefully he throws them all to Brandon Cooks because that's...
That'll help you.
To step his game up a little bit. So, and it looks like we've got some people. Blair's using the IR spot. Thank you, Evan, for
stupid.
That IR spot.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, if someone gets hurt, you can put him on the
Who's he got on the IR?
Kevin White.
He's not on the IR in the NFL? He's just out? He's not out for the year?
He's on the IR.
He's out for the year. He can't do that.
You can't. I mean, he can, but it's just going to take up his IR spot the whole season.
Oh.
So.
Because I dropped, what's his name? Robinson the other day.
Yeah.
So since I keep him on the IR spot.
So so let's say on your team, let's say Derek Carr is for whatever reason ruled out of a game, then you can put him on your IR spot, pick up another quarterback, play that quarterback. Derek Carr comes back, you drop that quarterback, you put Derek Carr back up. You don't have to lose. You're not losing the spot.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what it was designed for. But they call it IR, even though it's not really IR. So, like, right now I have Andrew Luck on mine, hoping that he comes back, which...
He's not.
All the Colts fans are texting me saying he's not coming back this year.
Not at all.
So, I'm going to send
If anybody wants a good piece of advice this year, I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to give it to you. I'm not afraid. If the Colts are playing against a defense that's out there to grab them, because the Colts suck. The Colts absolutely suck. The defense will score 20 points for you in a week.
So Los Angeles Rams put up 46 points on them.
Enough said.
That's bad.
They are a good defense, but my God.
Nah, they got 46 points hung on them.
That's more than normal.
That's horrible. So, okay. So, with that, went through the waivers. maybe later on this week when the teams get set, when lineups are set a little bit better, we will come back and go through some picks. Scott's already predicted that he's going to win and that Blair's going to win. The rest of the league, I'm guessing.
I don't give a shit about the rest of the league.
As long as you win and Evan loses, is that the...
Yep.
Well, hopefully, maybe if Evan gets stuck in Irma, you can be on next week and
That'd be awesome. I'm a much better guest than he is.
He's a co-host. Are you looking to co-host?
I probably should take over for him.
I bet we'd have a lot more bold predictions.
Absolutely.
All right, well, with that...
I'm going to go get something done at work here, Haas. I appreciate the time and, again, all the effort you do with this league. You run a great league. It is a dumb league, but...
league number 1.
I have paid this year for early for all those that... Because I know I'm going to get my money back this year. For those that haven't paid, get your money in, or I'm going to start making some complaints to the commissioner about you not being able to play or fulfill your lineups for each week, because that's totally... ridiculous.
I've got 5 people that have not paid, and this year Scott is not one of them. So the 5 of you have not paid. You know who you are. You better get your money in soon. So
has Evan paid?
Evan has paid $5 into the league so far. He's on a payment plan.
Well, at some point we need to make a deadline, and if they haven't paid, it's just a forfeit. I mean,
for the last 7 years we haven't done that.
We can start new. We never had an IR list either, an IR spot either.
The only time
we never had a podcast. Things change.
Things do change. We have kicked out someone who didn't pay. We kicked out Sean, who was in the league for a year. He never paid. So technically he owes me $25. I won that year.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. So, let's... We'll kind of end that there. Thank you for being on today, Scott. I'm glad you were in the office for a little bit.
Thanks for all my fans out there. Appreciate your support and love. Wish me luck as I travel to Jacksonville this week. I'm going to go watch the Jaguars and Titans play live on Sunday.
Are you not afraid of Irma?
Irma's over now. I'm going to go help with the rescue and do some volunteering down in Jacksonville. I'm going to visit my daughter. I might not build some houses, but I'm going to cut some trees down and shake some hands, get some babies, do everything that a good Samaritan would do in the times of need down there in Florida.
Next week we may have to have you recap how things are going down there.
Again, I should be your co-host or guest every week.
If the ratings spike this week and they're off the charts,
I'm guessing there's going to be some nice reviews of this podcast. Unlike last week, I thought it was kind of lame. Actually,
last week there were no reviews at all. Nobody said anything.
I'll probably go back and listen to it in the car and listen myself. So
you're going to critique yourself?
I will. But I think
may start looking at the games later on this week, and maybe. We'll call you in and get your advice on who you like and who you don't like.
Sounds good. One other word, Houday. We will be back. And the Bengals will go 15-1 this year.
That's a whole other podcast. All right. Well, thank you, Scott, for joining us. With that, I don't know how to top that bold prediction of 15-1 by the Bengals. If that hits, Scott needs to go buy a lottery ticket. So with that, I'm out of things to talk about. I got work to do this morning, so we will catch you on the next episode of the Mermaid Fantasy Football Podcast.